Montwood Rams could come out tough. You just never know. On the other side, Pebble Hills, they played great. They've been playing great so far. They lost a very close one to Canutillo also, week 1, then last week, and then that Hanks upset of America's. America's wants redemption, so this might be the night where they're going to come out and try to smack them in the mouth.
Yeah, and the thing about these SAC games in the first 2 weeks of the season, all of them have been close. I think the only one that wasn't close was the Montwood Canutillo game. Other than that, they've almost all been one-score games with a chance for either team to win late. So we're in store for a pair of good ones out here tonight. Now, elsewhere, over at Del Valle, you got El Paso coming to town. Del Valle looks like we expected Del Valle to look early in this season. Obviously, their duo of Fetty and Fuller have been good. Jesse, just what are you seeing out of the Conquistadores?
I don't see much of a test tonight. Them also with Canutillo and Burgess. I think it's like, I hope they don't sleep on these guys. They still got to take care of business. But what about anticipating that matchup for next week? 1 versus 2 out in the blue field, and that's if they could get everything business done tonight. But I don't see the El Paso Tigers going into Conquest Stadium and pulling out an upset. However, they played tough against Mountain View last week, so you just never know.
Yeah, you kind of talked about it there. Obviously, Del Valle and Canutillo will meet next week, and that is a huge game for that district. That game could literally decide which one of those two teams will win the district come the end of the season. Now, both of them we expect will make the postseason, but being the 1 seed has its advantages once you get to that postseason. So we're obviously looking forward to that game as well. Now we bump over to Bel Air. They've got a game this evening as well. And obviously it's year 1 of Coach Recorder. Not completely smooth for them so far this year, but you expect that with the new coach.
It's homecoming tonight. And the Highlanders lost a close one to Irvin last week. And, a lot of people aren't giving Irvin the credit they deserve. They're a very, very tough team. And first win over there, and somebody had to win their first game. And I don't anticipate it's going to be tough, but I believe Bel Air will pull it out tonight, especially at homecoming.
Yeah, exactly. And they're taking on Socorro. Obviously, Socorro, another team where they have some young guys on the roster and some key roles for them, but this isn't the same Socorro team that we've seen in the past that is completely not competitive against most schools, right? This is a different kind of team that we're seeing out of them this year.
They kept it close against Isleta. Isleta's playing very good football right now. And last week, they were going back and forth for the first part of the first quarter, and they just ran out of steam. That's what it was. But key mistakes, and Isleta capitalized on some mistakes, and there was a scoring machine out there. The Indians are for real. And, but Socorro is a tough team, like you said. They're no pushover by any means. There's an upside to them, and maybe they could pull up that upset. You just never know.
Yeah, and it really early in the season, like you said, we saw it happen to Hanks and Americas last week. Upsets do happen for sure. Now I want to take it down to 4A real quick. Over at Bowie High tonight, you got the Bowie Bears and Fabins. And now Bowie's a team that is coming off a year where they made the postseason, which was a huge deal for them. And a lot of their guys are back this year. Fabins, obviously, this is their first year in a new district where they get to play a lot more El Paso schools. Just being able to have that support from your fans, being able to come to the games, how cool is that for Fabins?
Well, you remember last year, Bowie lost their first 1 or 2 games, and then they went on that streak. And Fabins, Coach Levadio has those Fabins Wildcats ready. They both have senior heavy teams, so it's going to be a shootout out there. I anticipate a very close one out there at Bowie.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good one. Jesse, do you have any other games you're excited for tonight off the top of your head?
Just mentioning, everything that's going on out there. You got Canutillo over at Burgess. You just never know what's going to happen. On any given Friday, right? But these 2 SAC games are pretty much the premier games of the night.
Yeah. Obviously, we got teams like Coronado on a bye this week, so they've been looking good. And you talked about Canutillo there for a moment. I do want to mention them. That defense, looks good. That defense looks good. And you got Matthew Gasca stepping in for Knox now at quarterback, and he's looked every bit, if not more, of what Jeremiah Knox was doing for them last year. So I don't know what it is about Coach Brooks, man, but he is able to put together solid team after solid team. If you know one thing about those Eagles, they're going to play fundamentally sound, and they're going to play good defense.
No, definitely. And, we're talking to Coach Brooks over at Media Day. He was very just humble. It's like business as usual for him. And he knew he had a great defense coming into the season. And they're as good as advertised. Those guys are for real. They fly all over the field. So it's going to be very exciting. Next week, potentially top 2 teams, top offense versus top defense. So everyone's anticipating that one.
Yeah, it'll be a good time, and we'll be there for sure. And we hope you'll be there too. We also hope you'll be with us later tonight on the Red Zone for highlights from this game, the game over at SAC II, and all around the borderland. For now, from SAC II, I'm James King. This is Jesse Tovar. We appreciate you guys.